Okay, then.
I will do that for disarm.
Hmm.
So I would say that we're in pretty good shape. Thank you very much. We meet twice a month. We have over 60 people on our committee listserv, and we get 15 to 20 people come to all our meetings, report on the projects they're working on our behalf. We have 11 campaigns on different topics to do with peace, disarmament, being against militarism, and we regularly send to the branches and through e-alerts requests for all members to do actions to promote, for example, the Treaty on the Prohibition Against Nuclear Weapons. There was entry into force, third anniversary on the 22nd of January. We sent you all an e-alert, and some of you did go out and do some of the things we asked you to do, and some of you stayed home and wrote to your Congress people. We try to give a variety of actions for members to do. So those who are not able to get out very much can do things from their houses. And we get good input from the members who attend our meetings. And we are always welcoming new people. We have, of course, concentrated currently on the Gaza-Israel war, with which we try to coordinate with Middle East. So we are watching what they're asking us to do, and we repeat some of their requests for action on that terrible war. And of course, we're in the Peace in Ukraine coalition that's been working to try to get a ceasefire in the war between Ukraine and Russia.
30 seconds.
Okay, so I don't, Diane, did you want to add anything? She's one of our three. We have three co-chairs. We're such a busy committee. We've got three of us. We try to make sure everything goes smoothly, and we keep in touch with our members.
No, I thought that was great, Cheryl.
All right. Thank you. We're done.
Thanks, Cheryl. You reminded me, I wanted us to look at something together before this part of the updates and whatnot. My apologies, but I want us to be reminded, I think here, yes. All right. So what constitutes a functioning, healthy issue committee?
You went on mute, I think, George.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary Beth. As I was about to read these things in case other people couldn't. There are 8 characteristics here to be a recognized issue committee. And these are things that are in the standards this came from our website, basically. Have a minimum of 5 members with geographic diversity. Have meetings at least quarterly. Disseminate to committee members and maintain for at least 2-year period meeting minutes. Have the opportunity at least every 3 years for changes in leadership. Maintain web page content, updating as required, and at least every 18 months. Develop objectives and actions with at least some measurable outcome-oriented goals. Develop its own projects to achieve the issue committee goals. Welcome any WILF member who wishes to participate. I've put in bold 3 of these: have meetings at least quarterly, maintain webpage content, develop objectives and actions with measurable outcome-oriented goals, as things many of us haven't done or I haven't seen. And I know that I haven't taken committee minutes for our program. I record it. And to me, the recordings, they replace that, but it's not explicitly named here. I'm just owning what part of this is something I need to probably pay attention to. Cheryl.
It would be very helpful if you could, if that's in a Word document, if you could send that to the program issue chairs.
I will. I'll send it along with the recording.
Right. And we are very strict about our minutes. We spend a lot of time making minutes, having them checked, sending them out. And it really is helpful to have minutes. It reminds you what you all promised to do the previous
Right.
meeting. We
And it
meet,
provides transparency and some accountability, which we
right,
absolutely need to have.
yeah, and because we meet twice a month, you know, those minutes have to come out pretty smartish.
Yeah,
Thank
wow.
you,
All right.
thank you.
Any other thoughts, comments? Is Darian here?
Yes, I am.
You can briefly check in if you care to. I remember you had something you wanted to highlight in this, but I can't remember what it is. So
Okay, thank you. I am not a chair of an issue committee, so I didn't want to speak up, but I'm happy to. Thank you. For me, it's really important that there be written minutes as well as recordings. And that's because minutes, kind of implied in their name, take minutes to read. They don't need to be hugely long, but they're really concise. And hopefully they're in some kind of orderly form. That sometimes our recordings, things happen and they're not so orderly, but that can be straightened out in the minutes. Also, the minutes can be sent to the Swarthmore archives, which is something we should be doing on a regular basis. I'll be talking to our past and new secretary about facilitating that with the issue committees. So I think that was the main thing I wanted to emphasize. Well, the other thing, which is not explicit in this listing, but relates to item 7, developing projects to achieve the issue committee goals. To me, the reason WILF supports the issue committees, we provide communications, we provide money, we provide web space, is because the issue committees should be organizing projects, actions, activities for WILF members to participate in, even if they're not in the issue committee, whether it be a letter writing campaign or banners or signs or whatever, something that can be shared with wider WILF. So I hope that all issue committees are thinking in those terms, a fact sheet, an update, that there are things that WILF
30
members,
seconds.
okay, things that WILF members depend on from the issue committees. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. All righty. So now that we've got that and we can revisit this and I'll send it out to folks, we can return to the issue committees and updates and flagging anything coming up that other folks can join in on or help highlight. Advancing human rights.
Well, thank you, George. I'll give the report because 2 minutes is not long, and there's been a lot of new information dumped out to this relatively new co-chair of Advancing Human Rights. As many of you know, this is a key committee in terms of what overall we're all fighting for, and that's for human rights everywhere. So our opportunity to collaborate with committees like Disarm, End War, Middle East Peace and Justice Action Committee, and other very kind of specific to human rights and the overall mission of WILF as a whole. However, this has been a rather stormy issue committee, and at the current point, CC Anderson, and I are the co-chairs recently installed. And we do have 3 functioning working groups. We moved from the title of subcommittee to actual working groups. And we have Ending Mass Incarceration and the Death Penalty, which meets every first Monday of the month. So we'll be meeting Monday, February 5th at 2 p.m. via Zoom. And then we have UN Decade Reparations Working Group, which tries to meet every 3rd Thursday or so. And we're meeting February 15th at 3 p.m. And Adrian, I'm so glad you're here because Adrian is the new convener of Migration and Border Justice. And so those are our 3 working groups that meet regularly and also join us when we have our umbrella meeting, which is always held on the fourth Monday of the month. And I believe we switched for February. So the umbrella meeting is actually on February 19th, which is President's Day, but it's at 8 p.m. And on the issue of minutes, that's something we will certainly take up since the importance of minutes has been stressed. We can do that, but the way I do minutes is about what did we decide? What were the decisions? And finally, thanks to Diane Blay, we adopted a very strategic outlook in the ending mass incarceration and the death penalty. And we really want to take on the human rights violation of solitary confinement in the US prisons. We want to end it, and we want to end the death penalty. So those are two very big goals for advancing human rights that will come under the working group ending mass incarceration and the death penalty. And I really appreciate that Diane raised that at the meeting in, I believe it was the January meeting of EMIDP. And so we will be pursuing that as a strategic goal over the next years to come, ending the US death penalty and ending solitary confinement in the prisons in this empire known as the United States of America. Thank you.
A couple of questions that I forgot to ask Cheryl, but I think second and last Sunday of every month at 7:30 is the meeting time. You mentioned the meeting times. Is there a standing meeting time for Immigration and Border Justice, Migration and Border Justice?
Well, Adrian just newly got installed in that role, so I don't think it's a fair question.
Okay.
And so we will work on that inside of advancing human rights. And Cece and I will work with Adrian, since the other person who was co-chairing that working group stepped back. She actually lives in Mexico anyway, so she's no longer in the US section. But
Okay.
George, that's something that we will work on.
And UN for Women, Barbara, do you have a standing or planned meeting time?
Well, George, let's be clear. I have no idea about UN for Women. It is not a part of the AHR report. So if Barbara could be allowed to give her report separately, I would appreciate that, because UN for Women has not been ever giving a report under AHR, not ever. So please don't do that, George, please.
Do you want to say anything, Barbara?
I'm not sure what it is that I've been told I can or cannot say.
Well, I asked George to
certainly UN for
a separate report.
Certainly, George, UN for Women has given reports to AHR numerous times over many years. We have not recently met. We will be meeting, and we wind up, we have been giving updates to various branches on the issues that WILF is involved in at the UN around CEDAW and women, peace, and security.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not, nobody from the leadership, current leadership of AHR has reached out to me that I know of. So we obviously need to improve our communications.
Absolutely. Okay, thanks
Thank
for
you
that,
very much.
Barbara. So how about Middle East Peace and Justice Action Committee?
Okay,
Do you meet on the second Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific?
yes, we do. That's a
Okay.
new time we just selected, so, yeah, we'd love to have people make note of it and join us if they can. So our focus now, of course, is Palestine. And we've done e-news articles. We've made sure we tried to stay on top of any sign-ons that we can do. We were part of a international committee that put together some work. And I was part of that as well as a couple of others of ours. It was really wonderful to have people from Palestine, from Jordan, Lebanon, on this committee when we put together that effort. We've done articles on peace and freedom, et cetera, and notes to branches. We do use the branch listserv, and I recommend it to all the issue committees. At our last note, and hopefully you saw it, we thank the branches that have done rallies, letter writing, and more. We of course made an apology for any branch we overlooked, and then we asked everybody to respond to that email so we could have a nice thread of what everybody's doing. And we'll try that again to really get people engaged so that we all can see what each other are doing. We know we got a lot going on. I want to just make a point of interest. Also, one of the things that we've done, we've signed the Anti-Apartheid Community Pledge. And one, I think, interest for us in WILF is that citizens in Burlington, Vermont, including our branch there, and I know that you all know Robin Lloyd and Marguerite Edelman. They've been very active in trying to get something on the city council. They've had rally after rally. They've struggled with the city council, and that was originally going to be on the ballot in March, so that citizens there could take a vote. And I need to get caught up with Robin and see just how that's going. But I'm just so proud that we have somebody in our WILF that has gone the extra step of not only just taking the pledge, but also taking it to the city council and trying to get something done. And of course, the branch is very much a part of that effort to do that. So I thought that's what I'd report on, George. For now, I do have more to say when we get to the Congress.
Very good.
Unless anybody has anything else they want to add or want to ask.
Robin Lloyd has a question, or her hand is up anyway.
Yeah, just a brief.
Oh, good.
update.
Robin's here. Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know you were here, Robin.
I'm here. So it was defeated. The city council insisted on taking their option to allow it to go on the ballot in March or not, and they decided not to. It was 7-6. We have a progressive party here. I think a lot of people are very upset. I think it's going to affect elections to come. On a similar issue, I'm just wondering, has the Middle East Committee taken a stand on the fact that the United States has withdrawn from, how do you say it, UNRWA, the Palestinian organization?
It's
No,
the United Nations Relief.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. I know that
That's
just
what-
happened this week, and
Yeah. We
but
discussed.
no, we
it
haven't done
in
anything on it.
term. And I said I thought Wilf should say something, Wilf US or maybe Wilf International, and maybe we'll find out tomorrow at the international meeting. I can ask someone whether international has issued something, because I think it's a tragedy that all the funding for the fund is being cut away.
Okay, let's
Tremendous.
get back to these reports from our issue committees. Cuba and Bolivarian Alliance. Lenny, you have 2 minutes.
Alrighty. The Cuba and the Bolivarian Alliance Committee is dedicated to trying to get the U.S. government to eliminate the blockade of Cuba, as well as other attempts to destroy Cuba. Currently, the focus is on the U.S. state sponsor of terrorism list, which is something that the president does not require congressional access to do. He could just do it. And so we are asking people to contact Biden, to contact their representatives, to contact Biden. And that's our current campaign. This state sponsor of terrorism list makes it almost impossible for Cuba to carry out any kind of international financial transactions, just doing enormous harm to the country. You can imagine if you can't buy raw materials for making medications, if you can't in any way service your health system, you know, financially, this is devastating. And that's the intent of the US, is that it should be devastating. And it's kind of sad that they can't let just one nice thing, one positive, you know, place where people live decently exist in the world without trying to destroy it. So you are all welcome to participate. I am very much the junior co-chair. The committee was formed by somebody else. And Cindy Domingo is currently in the Philippines, which is why she's not here, but it very much runs the way she runs it. Thank you.
Okay, and do you have a regular meeting time?
We do not. We
Okay.
often meet in collaboration with the other organization, which has a tremendously overlapping membership. Also, I think organized by Cindy Domingo and some other people, US Women in Cuba. And so, and that is often on some, you know, middle of the day kind of times that are not really good for across the country WILF meetings with some people who work.
Thanks for that info. So
Question.
Robin, your hand's up again?
Yeah, I'm wondering whether you also cover the sanctions against other countries in the Bolivarian Revolution, such as Nicaragua.
We try to, yeah, we could use some more folks, and hopefully this meeting is going to be a start at revising our organizational structure so that maybe we can do that.
Awesome. Nancy's not here, so we can't hear from Earth Democracy, and Dee's not here, so we can't hear from Domestic Prisoners of War. Also listed on our website is the Practicum and Local to Global, the UN Commission on the Status of Women programs is listed under our issue committees, and I don't know if anyone can update that. Membership Development is a board committee, and CCS is a committee that Gloria established. She's not here to report on it, but I'd love to hear about the Practicum and CSW and membership development to the extent anyone knows anything. After we hear from Teresa. Go ahead, Teresa.
Well, I just wanted to acknowledge that Linda Lee, someone I haven't met, I don't believe, of Lompoc, California, joined the meeting. And if she could introduce herself, I would appreciate that before the next committee speaks.
Thanks. I missed Linda joining. Linda, you can check in with your name, your branch, and any other thing you want to share.
I'm pleased to meet you all. I don't have a branch. That's why I attend the at-large meetings. I'm California Central Coast in between branches of some sort. So pleased to meet you all, and interested to find out what we're all doing. So thank you.
Glad you're here. All righty then. Back to check our agenda. Okay.
The CSW Practicum.
CSW and membership development. Thank you for reminding me, Teresa. So is there anyone who wants to share information on the CSW?
I'd
And does
like
it-
to,
Oh,
George.
thanks, Jan. Is it to be treated as an issue committee?
No.
Well, it's you know, it's a program. It's a program, so it's a little different than an issue committee, but it's a program.
Okay.
It's one that WILF has had for at least since 2013. I know
2007.
huh?
2007.
Barbara
Yeah.
Nancy.
2007.
The first
So,
class
what
was
we do-
2008.
Okay. So what we've been doing is making sure that we have a presence at the CSW meetings. The Commission on the Status of Women, their goal is to get equality for women across the world. If you saw the e-news that we've been circulating and that we had when we were trying to get participants in our programs, we're not making it went backwards. So the Secretary General has talked about how you know, this past year, we've gone backwards, not forwards. So what I like about the CSW is it connects us with so many things around the world. Everything that our issue committee does, 6,000 women from around the world come and talk about issues from farming to apartheid to, you know, there's just every issue, every possible issue you can think of comes up there, and it comes up very formally and with very good presentations. So you learn so much in a week's time. It's actually 2 weeks. We go to the first week. We had a good round of applicants for our local to global program. We have a committee that ended up selecting 4 people that'll be going in March. And
30 seconds.
so I coordinate. Okay, I coordinate the local to global, and Shilpa Pandey does the practicum. I want to make one point too about the practicum. I know Shilpa's not here, but we've extended the practicum program. It's called Practicum in Advocacy, and we've extended it beyond students who are interested in foreign relations, perhaps, or it could be women's issues. We've extended it to not just students, but women who are maybe new in their job, and so maybe they are in this type of work and would like to learn more by going to CSW, and how we can kind of make a connection with them. So I'll stop it there.
Okay. Do you have a regular meeting time?
We have a committee that helps us with our 2 programs, and no, we don't. It's pretty much based around that 1 week. So no, we don't have a regular meeting time. We do appreciate the committees, and in fact, I talked to Shilpa yesterday, or sent her an email yesterday. We want to get a meeting of our committee before we go in to talk about, you know, to make sure we've covered all the bases before we go to the meetings. So no regular meetings, but definitely have a committee that's integral in the whole thing.
Excellent. Nancy's joining us. Hey, Nancy. You might want to check in, but you may want to wait till Dee's here, because we could hear 2 minutes about Earth Democracy, but we could also hear your update about Congress. And we're getting short on time, so we may not be able to do both. You may want to choose which of the 2 you want to spend 2 minutes on. So what do you think, Nancy?
Jordan?
I'll say something about Earth Democracy,
Okay.
which is I have a very nice Fresno, California branch member, Jean Hayes, who's going to be my co-chair. And she and I will be working on text to get up onto the website and reconstitute what Earth Democracy is up to, and try to sort through the different topics and issues and campaigns so that we hone down and get focused and collaborate with other committees if they welcome our collaboration.
Great. That is a lovely, succinct update, like that. Dan, there's another question I meant to ask. Darian's probably the best person to answer. I'm trying to look. Yes, she's still here. So Darian, board committees like membership development, finance, whatever the fundraising committee might be, are they expected to be active with program?
No, they may interact with program for one reason or another, but they really work in somewhat separate worlds. Obviously, membership development benefits from active issue committees and so forth.
Okay, thanks for that. Just trying to
And Jan
get it
has
all.
her hand up.
Yes, I know. But thanks for that information, Jan, and welcome, Dee. We'll come to you in a second. Go ahead, Jan,
Yeah.
and then Teresa.
Thank you for giving me a minute here. I do want to make an important announcement from Membership Development Committee, and that is that we are going to be hiring a new field organizer, and you're going to get word of it through the e-news that will be coming out around February. But I just want to tell you a little bit about it. They'll be working with branches to help them, maybe be a little more, out in the community, and certainly to build membership. That's one thing we're going to really ask that person to focus on. They're We're hoping to hire them sometime in March to start around April 1st or maybe a little earlier. 70 hours a month, $25 to $30 per hour based on experience. So please keep that in mind. Watch for the announcement. Contact me if I'm going to be gathering all the announcements. If you know somebody or if you're interested yourself, please let me know.
Field organizer, awesome. All right then, Teresa.
Very good news about hiring an organizer, because that is exactly what people could use at this moment in time. An organizing director for the organization would be great, but an organizer to help build and rebuild the branches, particularly to see what can be done about the lost branches. And I just want to say on membership development as a committee, realizing it's a board committee that gets funded in a different kind of way. But in terms of the core of a membership organization, there is no more important committee, and we should hold that committee accountable so that they're not doing things off in secret. So we hear about this stuff just as a aside at a program committee meeting. We need to know regularly how many branches do we have, how many members do we have, what's going on with membership development, because if we don't have members, it's hard to staff the issue committees and get work done. I really applaud Disarm for doing such a great job of reaching out. It is a core reason that WILF exists, and Disarm does very well in giving things for people to do, etc. But if there are no branches, it's hard to do that. And so I just want to say membership development needs to be reporting within the program committee. Just seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Jan?
Well, I just was going to say the branches are all listed on the website along with their contact, along with their Facebook page if they have one, or their website if they have one. So be sure to refer to that.
Thanks, Jan. Welcome,
No,
Dee.
wait, George, I don't understand what she's saying about branches.
They're listed on the
No,
website.
I'm talking about the membership development committee. The committee, I know who the branches are and what branches don't exist. That's not the question, Jan. It's the committee where you and Shilpa, who retired as board members a year ago, but you're still running the membership development committee. And that committee needs to report as a committee.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying you didn't know what the branches were. Sorry about that.
I know exactly what branches exist, trust me. But the membership development and how many members we have and what's going on with that is what is the secret. And that needs to be out in the open and transparent, really.
Yeah, I can give a report on it now, but maybe save it for the next meeting. It's whatever you guys want to do.
We will make sure it's on our next agenda. Mary Beth, is there anything you wanted to say about women, money, and democracy before we start a brief conversation about Congress?
Yeah, I was trying to put it all in the chat, but my message is too long. Okay, so on January 21st, we held this year's annual planning retreat. This year's major priority for us will be collaboration. It's a continuation of our work last year, taking our messages to different branches. And we'll be looking for ways to widen our messages about our work, actions, and events by more networking inside WILF and with allies and like-minded organizations. We have a webinar in the works. Disarm Committee has offered to co-sponsor a webinar with Women, Money, and Democracy and the author Joan Roloff, who wrote $1 Trillion Silence, Why There Is So Little Anti-War Protest in the US, to speak on a webinar about her book and research she's done in how monetary policy connects with war funding. We're still waiting on an answer from Joan and a date. We are proposing, we're asking the program committee to agree to help promote a solidarity action across all of Wilf called May Day for Money. It's the weekend of May 17th through 19th. We're working with our ally Alliance for Just Money to co-sponsor their Chicago action on the steps of the Chicago Federal Reserve, and then conduct a 20-block march to the statue of Abraham Lincoln to underscore his support for greenbacks and to urge a return to a non-debt money system. May 18th is the 110th year anniversary of the Federal Reserve and of Congress ceding their power to create money to private banks. On May 18th, we hope to change the narrative of money back to a focus on people and our planet and societal needs. So even if you can't come to Chicago, there will be a toolkit of suggested local actions you can take in your own community to support this. And we're hoping that we can get the word out across all of Wilf, and that Midwest branches might send someone to Chicago, but other branches might use the toolkit to take action.
30
We're also co-sponsoring 4 embodied economic Zooms with our ally An Economy of Our Own about healthcare, housing, the environment, and food, and how they affect women and poor people. And at our February 20th meeting, we'll be hearing from Virginia Pratt, who just recently returned from Nicaragua. She'll share her observations about how Nicaragua's democracy and economy are working towards maintaining peace, lifting up the rights of women, promoting business cooperatives, and funding human services and education for everyone. The meeting is open to anyone who wishes to attend, and we'll send a notice on the branch's listserv. Our Congress presentations, we're planning on 2. One is about
You're
how
30 minutes over.
Do you want me to stop? I can stop right here.
If we can survive, I mean, unless you think I know that it isn't awesome to hear somebody in the background going 30 seconds. I do know that is, almost rude, but it's the best way I know how to do it at the moment. So
it's okay. I mean, I'm prepared to stop. I have 2 other things to say, but I don't.
you can put them in the chat, can't you?
There you go.
There you go. I know Dee, you're here now. So Nancy gave the briefest update on Earth Democracy I've heard, probably, or any of our committees. So if you want to give a brief update on DPAL, and then between you and Nancy, 4 minutes on the Congress and what you might need from program. Can you do that? Is that okay? Dee, are you?
Hi, yes, hi, I'm sorry. I was just actually typing up the update that we have from DPAL. And then what was the other question that you had?
Between you and Nancy, we want an update on Congress, and then we'll ask any questions we have about it. And then we'll have a discussion, I hope, about what we as program see as the content we will provide at Congress. So those are 3 pieces after whatever kind of update you want to provide.
So the updates in the chat on DPAL. Regarding the Congress, I was really excited to hear Jan's announcement of a field organizer because we had a really interesting development tonight with a speaker of the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, which owns the venue that we'll be hosting the Congress on. And she is just full throttle. She has recommended several different key leaders of the Ojibwe community, and they are powerful. One is like a department chair of natural resources. A couple are lecturers at the University of Minnesota. And there is one who focuses on Indigenous history here in Minnesota. So we're looking to figure out how to thread all of this throughout the program so that we pay proper respect to those whose land we'll be holding this Congress on. She's also offered to assist with fundraising, which was a big development at the end. And so hearing from Janet, there's going to be a new field organizer. These two might collaborate at some point. My next steps as Congress coordinator are to reach out to members of membership development. I've worked or had meetings rather with Geneve and with Martha Collins in the past regarding fundraising for the Congress. But now with these new developments, we're hoping that with this new information and new leads, we'll be able to pursue some actual concrete funding. As far as what the content is that issue committees should be presenting, if everyone recalls, the theme of the Congress is water on the front lines for peace. And so really, if we can kind of stay focused on that particular subject matter and somehow tailor the presentations and the information around that theme, you know, it would help with consistency. We will have tables available at the Congress, the whole room, for tabling and displays. And there's also going to be room in the handbook, which is Nancy has reached out to Dasa, who we've worked with in the past, who's also our registrar, and she's going to be compiling that handbook. So please stay tuned for how to contact her, how to advertise in the handbook, and anything that you want from your branch or your issue committee to be in the handbook that will be issued at the Congress. And did I miss anything?
Nancy, did Dee miss anything? You're talking, you're not, but you're muted.
Very sorry. We're working hard to get the 4-day schedule worked out so that there's some breathing room and relaxing time to meet and greet and talk and converse with others. We would like to invite all the issue committees here represented to be sure, if you're participating in the Congress, to send us in, I would say, a week or 2 weeks, a very almost final description of your presentation, and so that we see what you'd like to do, how we schedule you in, etc. If you're going to use slides, PowerPoint, those sorts of visual materials, etc. I'm happy to work with any issue committee here. I've worked with Women, Money, and Democracy, Middle East. Let's see, I guess that's Disarm. So I really need to have you folks get to us your plans and what materials you might be using. Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks,
and to add to
Nancy.
that, DPAL doesn't have specifically water-related issues, so we've opted to give up any presentations at the Congress at this point, in order to allow for more room for the other issue committees whose work directly pertains to water matters.
Okay.
For instance, maybe Women, Money, and Democracy can talk about the corporate privatization of water in its various forms. Disarm, you know, we know there are nuclear submarines and different things that military bases that are contaminating water. So we've opted to allow space for the other issues committees to present the materials that they need to present.
Good. We need that space. You said something that confused me, Dee, but I think we got it. I
excuse
know
me.
we've got hands up. I'm not gonna ignore those. But you said membership development. I think you meant development because you were referring to fundraising. Fundraising is development. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure I'm
Thank
not
you.
confused.
Correct.
Nancy, you had your hand up, and
Yes,
then
I just want to add, I need a short description of what your issue committee will present, 3 or 4 or 5 sentences, short paragraph, and a headshot of those who will be the presenters.
by when, Nancy?
Well, I would say no less than 2 weeks.
2 weeks from
Excuse me,
today?
no more than no more than 2 weeks.
2 weeks from
Wow.
today.
Yes, I just really want to get this
Okay.
rolling out.
All right, thank you. So I see Cheryl, Teresa, and Robin.
Yes,
2
I was
minutes
just
each.
trying to, I was going to ask the same question, and now I'm looking at, today is the 30th. 2 weeks from today is the 13th of February. So let's
Okay.
all just
That's a little too soon
put
for us, I know.
down on our to-do list, 13th February to ready.
13th of February.
I
And if you
think,
need an
yeah,
extension, contact Nancy.
That's right. Please do so. This can be your first go around, but we really need to start getting these materials in because we want to have a good mid-February e-alert or extra e-news that describes the program and really starts getting people very involved and excited to attend. Thank you.
Mhm. Teresa and then Robin.
Well, a question. The top three states with the most lakes are Alaska, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. So having it there in Minnesota, with Minnesota being known for all of its many lakes, bodies of water, I'm curious as to how the water theme came together in the context of Minnesota being chosen. But on the issue of issue committees, I will not be in Minnesota, but I would like to zoom in with water is life in the context of the UN decade reparations and recognition, justice, and development, because companies go into Africa and they take the water. And so I think we can come up with something that would fit the theme of the Congress based on this being the last year of the UN decade and the call for recognition, justice, and development has not been realized. And Cece and I can talk about this, but the deadline that you're providing, our next full umbrella meeting is February 19th. And I would like to see us have more of a collective conversation about this on February 19th. But for now, I would say that's the proposal, and I will see what's said at the February 19th meeting. But I don't think an e-alert in February is going to be happening because it's premature, and I don't work like that because we have to have a more collective discussion about what AHR will submit to Congress, and we won't be able to do that before February 19th. But that's my idea for now, and we'll see if people support it. But right now, we can't say that that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin, Barbara, Nancy. It's past an hour, so if you have to leave us, we're recording and we understand, or I understand. So,
Okay. Yeah, a member of our branch here, Jill Clark Golub, is taking a delegation to Nicaragua. She's also very involved with the National Sanctions Committee. She's she's a translator and everything. And I talked to her today and proposed that the Burlington branch sponsor or hold a session on sanctions. And I'm sort of jumping in and saying this because I think it was discussed in Disarm. After all, sanctions is a form of war. And so maybe it's been proposed by someone else, but I'm just throwing that out there, and I'd like to keep going with Jill because she's very knowledgeable, and I think she'd be an excellent presenter.
thank you. Barbara?
I just wanted to remind Nancy that she and I spoke about the possibility of UN for Women doing a presentation to remind our members about our role in CEDAW and in 1325. And our relationship with the UN and what branches could do about it. So if there's still space on the program, which we talked about, we're still interested in having a presentation. Doesn't have to be huge.
Any other thoughts or comments connected to the Congress?
Well, I would like my question to be answered about the water theme in a state like Minnesota with all those lakes. If Nancy and Dee understand my question, I did put it in the chat to kind of clarify.
Nancy, I'm sorry I missed your hand being up. Go ahead.
Well, you know, maybe Dee can answer how the theme was decided some time back. However, I think, you know, in a way, the theme of water and peace can be woven together in many different ways. For example, there's quite a lot of pollution of the lakes and rivers in Minnesota, and the sources of that pollution are important to understand. For example, as PFAS, it's tritium, a leak at a nuclear power plant, nickel mining, extractive industries, et cetera. So we'll be exploring that in the Congress. So your concept for your presentation, Teresa, fits right in. I understand you want to have a discussion, collective discussion with your issue committees, and that's fine. If you would like to get your description in a bit late, perhaps you could send me a few, you know, sentences to begin with. I'd appreciate that. Just so I have, placeholder descriptions, you know. There's a lot for. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for your response, Nancy. That's very clear with you mentioning the pollution in all those beautiful lakes. I didn't know about that. So thank you. I can see that thing really fitting. And water is life, and we have to have it. So I do want to talk, and we may be able to pull together a kind of ad hoc grouping to kind of explore this, so I can give you a few sentences. And I'll say good night, everyone. And so thank you so much, Nancy. You're always so clear. Thank you.
I also just like to remind everybody that women are warriors and protectors of water and land historically and presently. So that's another theme that can be woven in. Thank you very much.
All right. Good night, Teresa. Last call.
Cheryl's comment regarding water is a topic that most of our issue can. So when we originally made the proposal for Minnesota to host this Congress on site level, we had met with some members of the branch in Minnesota, and it was during the brainstorming session that we realized, yes, we are in a land of 10,000 lakes. Water is an issue that all the issue committees can deal with. It's you know, a major topic of discussion, and there's so much that can be covered. I mean, you know, I think Teresa mentioned Africa. There are a lot of countries in Africa, some in India, where they're taking the sand off of beaches. Like there's nothing but rocks left, and they're selling them to hotels and are using them for construction. And it's a multi-million-dollar profit opportunity for some. So they're actually stealing the sand off of beaches. So there's just so much material that could be covered under this. And this is one of the reasons that the original site committee decided to go with the theme Water on the Front Lines for Peace. Lois Herman from the branch actually is the one that coined the entire title, Water on the Front Lines for Peace. And she's still working with us on the programming committee.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So, anything else on the Congress? This is the last call for a Congress-related piece. We're about to be done. Any announcements that we haven't already heard? All right, you know that I'll send the recording, I'll send the document so that everybody can add their regular meeting times and whatnot. And I know someone tonight mentioned UNRWA, it's the United Nations Relief and Work Agency. the US cut their funding. You might know this or read about it. And they are or were one of the only sources for people in Gaza to eat, including children. So tomorrow there's something I'm putting in the chat. I hope the link is there. I thought it was, but I may have to look for it and put it in again. Go ahead, Cheryl, while I try to see why this hyperlink didn't come. And
Yes,
then Darian
just-
after Cheryl.
Just to remind you, you're going to send us the guidelines for what it is to be an issue committee as well
Yes,
as.
ma'am.
Yes, please. And then, yes, and I put in, so Disarm, this morning I sent out a script to all our members for them to phone their Congress people to complain about this taking away of the funding to UNRWA. You've heard that, it used to be 500 trucks a day went into Gaza, 500 trucks a day before October the 7th, because that's what it took to keep 2 and a bit million people who are otherwise cut off for the world, fed and with medicines. And as you all know, those number of trucks went down to hardly any. And then who was it who distributed the stuff, those 500, the boxes and the flour and the what have you on those trucks? It was this company, this organization from the UN called UNRWA. And so they have 12,000 workers in Gaza who do this work. And so they say there's 12 people who maybe had something to do with October the 7th. So obviously a very, very small fraction and not being proven. It's all, to my mind, hearsay. So anyway, please call your Congress people and say, don't, restart this funding to UNRWA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Darian?
Thank you. I just wanted to say I am so delighted, George, that you asked people, issue committee chairs, co-chairs, to say when their meetings are. It sounds like we might be starting to get close to being able to have a calendar at least of the issue committee meetings. And this is something we've been working toward for years and years. And maybe you can compile that, maybe not. Maybe you can get someone who would compile it and provide a calendar of when are the recurring meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Anyone? No? Alrighty then. Thank you so much for your Monday night. One of the many things that I will send y'all is this chart that talks about cooperation, coordination, I think, and collaboration. And ideally, we're able to collaborate with each other. But have we done the work? No, not always. So y'all can look at that chart, and the work that we need to do is the work in the middle between cooperation and collaboration, the coordination part. And we'll get back, we'll do that, visit that again next month. But one of the things that keeps me going spiritually, besides prayer, which is big, is music. So I'm putting this thing in the chat that I discovered this weekend that's just fabulous. And I'm going to play it for all of us. You can leave if you need to. I hope that I don't have to stop the recording. I'll just be safe.